Of Parmarth Niketan. Today, as you might know, is a full moon. So in some traditions of yoga, on full moon and new moon days, we take the day to rest from doing more rigorous physical asana practice. And there's nothing inherently bad about practicing asana on full moon or new moons, but it's a nice rhythm to have that day of rest. And it's also a very conducive time for other sorts of practices, more meditative, devotional practices, and restoring practices. Sometimes we get so caught up in doing, that even a yoga practice can become like something that we feel like we need to do or get through a routine. And so taking the time to step back, pause, let ourselves soften and rest can be very helpful. So today for our practice, we'll be doing a very special full moon restorative practice. In restorative yoga, the emphasis, much more than actually anything that we'll be doing, is entirely on the sense of being, letting yourself drop in fully into the body, into the experience. And the body, including the nervous system and the mind, has this remarkable capability to heal itself. It knows how to bring itself back to balance, but sometimes we just have to give it the space and the time to do that. So in our practice today, we'll just be doing a handful of poses, and we'll hold each one for a few minutes, several minutes. And frequently when restorative yoga is taught, it uses all sorts of props, bolsters and blocks and blankets. But since we're doing this online live, we know that you may not have everything available to you at home. So if you have just a regular pillow somewhere, you can grab a pillow to have nearby, which will be useful in some ways. Before we start into the postures, first just find a comfortable seat. Sitting bones dropping down and back. Lift up through the crown of the head. Take a deep inhalation. And a long, smooth exhalation. Letting any tension start to drain away, just dropping down. Bring the hands together in front of the heart. We'll chant 3 Oms together. A deep, smooth inhalation. Get ready. Release the hands, open the eyes. We'll make our way into our first posture today, on our backs. So with knees bent, soles of the feet to the floor, just roll down onto your back, carefully lowering yourself down. And then place the feet wide, about as wide as the mat, and let the knees drop together in the center, so they're supported on each other. And if you want to use a pillow underneath your head, or underneath the hips, anywhere that feels comfortable. Feel free to set that up. It can be nice to help keep a natural curve through the neck. So feet wide, knees dropping together. Bring the hands onto the low belly. And take a few moments to make any adjustments. Settle in so that you can drop into stillness. And now as you find your way into the shape that works for you, take a deep inhalation. Feel the belly rise. And a long, smooth exhalation. Let the breath wash down and back. Softening. And now bring the attention onto the breath. Without trying to control or change or manipulate it in any way. Just notice the breath as it moves in and out. Steady flow, the steady rhythm. The steady dance. Notice if your breath feels deep or if it's more shallow. Notice if the breath feels smooth or if it's stuck, jagged, or rough at any point. And finally notice where in the body the breath moves most. Is it the belly that rises and falls? Or is it moving more into the middle of the chest and the ribs? Or is the breath mostly in the upper chest, up near the collarbones? Just notice. And now start to gently deepen the breath. Let the belly be soft so the breath drops down into the belly, finding a little more fullness on the inhalation. And make the exhalations about the same length as the inhalation, bringing balance to the breath. Samavritti. And on every exhalation, see if you can soften somewhere A little bit more. Letting yourself start to drop into the stillness. The ease, the comfort. Trusting the body to gradually release all the unhelpful patterns, all the places we hold without even realizing it. Start to deepen the breath again. And then carefully draw both knees into the chest, moving slowly. Hands to the front of the shins, gently rock side to side. You can make small circles with the knees, massage out the low back and sacrum. For the next posture, we'll set up for a nice gentle twist. So you can bring the pillow over to your right side if you want. And extend the arms out to either side, bent at the elbows in a cactus shape or extended straight. And now drop both knees over to the right. They can fall onto a pillow, or if it feels comfortable, you can place the pillow between the knees. Soften the shoulders. And if it feels right on the neck, turn the head to gaze left. If that feels too intense, then keep the head either straight up or look over the right shoulder for a more gentle twist through the neck. So again, take a few moments to make any adjustments. Set yourself up in a shape that works for you. And as we settle in here, first a deep inhalation. Let the body expand into the spiral. And a long, smooth exhalation. Takes you back in. Back into the softness. The stillness, back into the breath. And the sense of just being, resting. Now bring your attention into your feet. And imagine a soft, warm glow that fills the feet. And now that warm glow moves up into the ankles, softening. The warm glow fills the lower legs, softening the calves, the shins, and up into the knees, Now the glow moves into the thighs, softening the inner thighs, outer thighs, front of the thighs, back of the thighs. Now into the hips. Soften the hips, all the powerful muscles around there. And the glow moves into the pelvis. Soften the pelvis, all the internal organs. Soften the sides of the waist, the low back, sacrum. Now the warm glow moves into your chest. Soften the ribs, all the space between the ribs. Soften the heart, the sternum, front of the chest. Let the lungs be soft as you breathe. Soften the back of the chest, the space between the shoulder blades. And soften the sides of the chest, top of the chest, collarbones. Soften the shoulders, front of the shoulders, back of the shoulders, shoulder blades. Now the warm glow moves into your upper arms. Soften the upper arms, biceps, triceps. Soften the elbows. Soften the forearms, the wrists. Soften the fingers, palm of the hand, back of the hand. And now bring the warm glow into the neck. Soften the front of the neck, the throat, sides of the neck, back of the neck. Soften the jaw, the forehead, cheeks, lips. Let the tongue be soft inside the mouth. And soften the eyes and their sockets. Soften the nose. Soften the ears. Soften the space between the ears and the cave of the skull. And finally, soften at the crown of the head, the very top. Notice if there's anywhere in the body. It doesn't need to be holding, but is still holding. And see if you can soften there, even a little bit. And start to deepen the breath again. And then slowly bring the head back to center, the knees back to center. You can either draw the knees in towards the chest, some small movements to neutralize, let everything re-equilibrate, or just be still on your back. And as you're ready, we'll move into the second side. So place the pillow towards the left if you want to let the knees fall. Draw both knees in towards your chest. Extend the arms out to the sides. And then both knees fall over, maybe resting down onto a pillow, or place a pillow between the knees. The head can either stay straight up, or turn to look right for a more intense twist. or looking to the left for a more gentle twist through the neck. As always, take a few moments to set yourself up. Find the shape that works for you. And now a deep inhalation. And a long, smooth exhalation. Let yourself drop back down. Back into the breath. Back into the inner landscape. And the experience of just being. Nothing to do. Everything else can wait. In our practice today, whenever you notice that the mind has wandered off, following some thread of thought, just gently bring the awareness back onto the breath. It's always there, like a friend ready to help. Watching the breath can have a very grounding, calming effect. A reassuring presence. Of the body being alive. Breathing through it all. It's a very simple practice to watch the breath with your attention. And it seems to become more interesting the more we do it. Becoming increasingly aware of the patterns of sensation, patterns of movement. With every breath. Start to deepen the breath again. And slowly come back to center, back to neutral. And find any small movements here, or be in stillness. Let the body re-equilibrate. Back to center. Now roll over to your right side. Just pause on the right side, curled into yourself. Supporting the head with the arm. Then use your hands to press your way up to a comfortable seat. Once you're sitting up, lift through the crown of the head. Just take a few breaths here. Close the eyes. Bring the awareness inward. Notice any effects. And open the eyes. And the next pose we'll set up for is a version of Bhaktasana, the devotional pose, or Balasana, child's pose. So you'll come onto your knees. And if this feels uncomfortable to have the knees bent so much, one option you can try is to place a pillow onto the heels so that it reduces the bend through the knees. So either with the hips sitting on a pillow or blanket, or you can bring a pillow out in front of you. And then just drape the upper body over. If you're folding onto a pillow, you can turn the head to one side and let the arms rest in any comfortable way. Let the hips drop down and back. And now take a deep inhalation here. Breath expands across the back of the chest. And a long, smooth exhalation. Soften down. And if you want something to focus the breath on, or focus the mind on, other than the breath, you can try out a simple mantra here. On every inhalation, think to yourself the sound hum. And on the exhalation, the sound sa. Every inhalation, hum. And exhale, sa. In Sanskrit, hum sa means I am that. Hum, sa. I am that. If you have the head turned to one side, just carefully lift the head just enough to turn it to the other side. And then soften down again. Back into the breath. The exquisite state of just resting, just being. Hum sa. I am that. Notice whatever thoughts have come up, wherever the mind has gone. Then just bring the attention back onto the breath. Start to deepen the breath again. And then carefully press your way back up to a neutral position. And once you're sitting up, lift through the crown of the head. Notice any flushing sensations. Whatever's there. And now open the eyes. Then shift your feet out in front. Sit about halfway up the mat. And then place your pillow behind the back. So you could also use a rolled up blanket to do this, but whatever you have available. So have it up near the tailbone so that it heads out behind you. Now there are different options with the legs here. One is to bring the soles of the feet together with the knees out in a big diamond. And if it feels too intense on the hips, you could put other pillows underneath the knees. Or if it doesn't work well for you, just straighten the legs or bend the knees, feet to the floor. Whichever option the legs are in, then carefully lower yourself back to rest along the pillow. And arms can rest either down near the hips or out towards the sides or bent in a cactus shape for more opening across the chest. So as always, take a few moments, adjust the shape, find whatever version works for you. And as you settle in here, feel the hips heavy on the floor. Notice the open front of the hips, the open belly, the chest, the throat. Take a deep inhalation to expand the open front. And as you exhale, let the breath wash down and back, softening into the support, opening the heart, trusting. And let your attention be drawn again back onto the breath. Either simply watching the breath or working again with the Hamsa mantra. Every inhalation, the sound hum. And on the exhale, sa. Now imagine a small golden light at the crown of the head, like a brilliant, radiant seed. And the next time you inhale, imagine that golden light moves down through the center of the skull, past the throat, through the heart, down through the belly, the pelvis, all the way to the pelvic floor, base of the spine. And on the next exhalation, the light moves from the pelvic floor back up through the belly, through the chest, passing the throat, through the skull, all the way to the crown of the head. So on every inhalation, the light moves from the crown of the head down through the center of the body to the base of the spine. And on the exhalations, it slides back up, bathing the central axis in a radiant golden glow. Notice whatever thoughts have come up. And bring the attention back onto the breath. Start to deepen the breath. And then carefully roll over onto your right side, rolling off the pillow. And pause again, curled on your side. And use the hands to press your way back up to a seat. Again, once you're sitting tall, lift through the crown of the head. Close the eyes. Take a few breaths here. Then open the eyes. And we'll set up for the final posture on our backs. So I like to use a pillow underneath the knees here for a nice release through the low back and hips. You could also use something under your head or cover yourself with a blanket. But lower yourself down onto the back. Make yourself nice and comfortable. And as you settle in, as always, first a deep inhalation. Then a long, smooth exhalation. The breath washes down and back. And as you rest here, imagine the full moon in the center of the skull, shining, reflecting the light of the sun, this cool, silvery glow. Bathing you in a sense of calm, a sense of peace. Reflecting the radiance of your own being. So let yourself drop fully into this lunar quality. The cool, the soft, the divine feminine aspect of ourselves. Associated with clarity and creativity. At this time of the full moon, help you embody those. Unfolding to their full potential. With a beautiful grace. So for now, just rest, held in the moon, bathed in its light. That light within yourself. Start to deepen the breath again. And start little movements in fingertips and tips of the toes. Draw the legs together, arms overhead, stretch long through the middle of the body. And then bend the knees. Once more, roll to the right side. And then press your way up to a seat. And find any comfortable way to sit. sitting bones dropping down and back. Lift through the crown of the head. Then bring the fingertips down to the earth, whatever you're sitting on. And as you inhale, feel any lingering tension, resistance, holding, gather around the heart and the chest. And as you exhale, let that all wash out, down through the arms, draining through the fingers, into the earth. Again, inhale, gather any lingering resistance, tension. And exhale, let it drain down through the arms, out through the fingers. Once more. Inhale to pull any tension into the heart, condensing it there. And exhale, let it all dissipate, draining down through the arms, through the fingers. And now flick the hands a few times. Just let any lingering tension go, whatever residue's there. We'll close the practice by chanting Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, peace, peace, peace. Allow for the inhalation. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you so much for practicing. Whatever sense of calm and openness, spaciousness you feel right now, take that with you. Let it always be there. This calm sense of the moon in your own body. And let the glow of the full moon tonight wash over you, filling you, reflecting the radiance of the sun and your own self. It's all in there. Have a wonderful day or night. We'll see you again soon.